going to cut across to our guest, but before we do that, with what Rajdeep was also speaking of, that light-hearted moment where Lalu was concerned, witnessed right at the end of the opposition briefing, where Lalu Yadav asked Rahul Gandhi to trim his beard and get married.
बात तो हम लोग का सलाह माने नहीं दिया, नहीं किया, शादी कर लेना चाहिए था और अभी भी समय गया बीता नहीं है, शादी करिए और हम लोग बाराती चलें और शादी करिए, बात मानिए। आपकी मम्मी हमको हाँ एकदम पक्का करना पड़ेगा। मम्मी आपकी बोलती थी कि आप हमारा बात नहीं मानता, शादी करवाइए आप।
All right, so that was a light-hearted comment by Lalu. We're going to, but a lot of big takeaways as well. And I would reckon the biggest takeaway is right now that Arvind Kejriwal really not on board. Everything seemed to be going according to plan, where there was a chair as well for Arvind Kejriwal, but he decided to leave. He attended the entire meeting but boycotted the press conference right at the end. And a statement now which has come in from the Aam Aadmi Party making it clear that the Aam Aadmi Party will only be on the same dais as the Congress if the Congress concedes to supporting the party when it comes down to the issue of the ordinance in Rajya Sabha in this monsoon session. However, the other big takeaways as well, the likes of Mamata Banerjee coming in, stating very clearly that they've decided that they will fight together. So there's a sense of isolation as well, where the Aam Aadmi Party and Arvind Kejriwal is concerned. But the other leaders, the other leaders were largely with what we are given to understand by our Aam Aadmi Party sources, with the Aam Aadmi Party trying to urge the Congress to climb down on its stand on the ordinance. Once again, let's connect to Rajdeep Sardesai, who's joining us from the venue of where this press conference took place. Rajdeep, interesting, what are you picking up on what really went down, the fine print of this meeting inside closed doors? Given to understand that a lot of political parties actually tried to play mediator, urging the Congress to climb down on the ordinance. Mamata Banerjee, for one, wanted the ordinance to be a part of the press note which would go out later. However, Rahul Gandhi refused, saying that the party is still consulting and they have a process to follow.
Absolutely, and that's pretty the problem. There were 11 out of at least 11 parties that openly backed Mr. Kejriwal. So a majority of the parties did back him on the ordinance issue. But Mr. Kejriwal's biggest problem lies with the Congress Party at the moment. The Congress Party, post-Karnataka Preeti, appears to believe that they have the momentum, that they can take this momentum into Chhattisgarh, Madhya Pradesh, even Rajasthan. And therefore, they would like to call the shots. Now, Mr. Kejriwal, on the other hand, is facing an existential crisis with the ordinance, with some of his key aides being imprisoned. So he wants the Congress to support him in his hour of need. And I don't think the Congress is willing to do that just yet. And I think that really is one of the many friction points that is the immediate friction point, but could end up being one of many such friction points in the months ahead. Because, as I said, there are a lot of regional tangles. Let's take a look at the Panchayat polls. The polls are on 9th of July. They are planning a meeting in a resort in Shimla later next month. How will Mamata Banerjee, Odhir Chaudhary of the Congress and Sitaram Yechuri play out these Panchayat polls in Bengal? So as long as local issues get entangled with this idea of a national platform, you will see what happened with the AAP happening to other parties. The fine print clearly shows that there is no consensus on issues like backing the ordinance. The Congress, I maintain, remains the elephant in the room.
Right. But, Rajdeep, going ahead from here, at least with what we saw on the stage there, do you see a certain sense of isolation also for the Aam Aadmi Party now? Because when it comes down, the Aam Aadmi Party will also need to massively climb down on the winter elections in states that it wants to make political forays in, even if it hopes to get that support where the ordinance is in question.
Well, Well, I think the Aam Aadmi Party is ready to do that. I think at the moment, you see, look at how things have changed, Preeti. In 2022, AAP had the momentum post-Punjab. That took them into Gujarat, where they took on the Congress in a way and wanted to replace the Congress as the main opposition party. The Congress accused AAP of being the B team of the BJP. A year later, or 6 months later, in the middle of 2023, it's the Congress which has the momentum post-Karnataka, and it's the AAP which needs the Congress more now. So that's how politics plays out. But unless that's the problem for this alliance, or this so-called alliance that's building up. How can they keep aside their local differences to stitch together a wider coalition? Are they only looking at short-termism, or do they really have a long-term agenda and narrative? And if they don't have one, then I don't know how long this alliance can last.
Right. Rajdeep, do you see that meeting, which is going to be now tentatively in Shimla, because what was made clear that it's a tentative date? Do you see that take place at all? You know, when we began this broadcast, in the middle it seemed to suggest, okay, there's no breakdown, there's no breakthrough, which is a good thing where this motley crew type of an alliance is concerned. But do you see anything different from that now in terms of what has transpired in the last 45 minutes?
I think it has. I think the AAP has clearly set a marker, and that in a way does put pressure on the remaining allies to try and sort it out before the next meeting in Shimla. I do believe that meeting will take place. Parliament is next month. So, you know, when the ordinance comes out in Parliament, that will be a big test. I don't think the Congress will back out from supporting the AAP on the ordinance. That's the sense I get talking to a number of the leaders, that Mallikarjun Kharge, who's the leader of the party in the Rajya Sabha, is more than open to backing the AAP in the Rajya Sabha, but he doesn't want any preconditions. He's saying, we have come here to stitch together 2024 alliance. Let's not bring local issues as preconditions. Arvind Kejriwal is saying, look, if I don't have the trust, to win my trust, you need to take these steps now. So I think it's a question of sequencing. I do believe that by the time Shimla happens, there will be an attempt made to sort it out. The likes of Mr. Pawar and Nitish Kumar will play that role. But it's a hard grind. This is a marathon, Preeti. This is not going to be a one-day match that overnight suddenly you will have a grand alliance being stitched. That's not happening.